up. Now, the first thing that I will be introducing to you in this particular module is how the three-phase power is actually generated, how the three-phase signals are actually generated. So that we will discuss in brief, and then I will introduce you to star and delta connection, and what is the relation between line and phase voltages, especially when we deal with this star connection. So there are some quantities which we call as line quantities and some quantities which we call as phase quantities. So what is the relation between these line quantities and phase quantities? So this we will be deriving. And we'll be also analyzing the balanced as well as unbalanced load condition. So when the load connected to all these lines are actually identical, then we call it, if not, we call it as unbalanced condition. So this analysis has to be done. And then a brief introduction to three-phase induction motor. Okay, so we'll start with the generation of this three-phase signal. So how this is generated. So for that, we will watch a small video. So kindly pay attention to this video. So this will give you a rough idea of what we are going to see in this particular module. Abhishek, what happened?
Sir, is there any audio?
An EMF means electromotive force is induced in a coil when it rotates in a magnetic field. This EMF is alternating in nature. What does the alternating means? You can see here a coil is rotating in a static magnetic field. An EMF appeared at the ends of the coil. Let's take a more detailed view. In this position, the axis of the coil and the field are perpendicular to each other, and there is no EMF is exist across the coil. After some time, when the coil takes this position, one side of the coil is linking with the north pole and the other side with south pole. As a result, an EMF starts appearing in the coil. The terminal A becomes positive and B becomes negative. That is, A is at higher potential and B is at lower potential.
Kuldeep, is there any issue?
No, sir. No, sir. I forget to lower hand.
Okay.
In this position, the coil aligned itself with the field and the EMF across the ends of the coil is maximum. At this position, EMF gets reduced and finally become zero in this position. The coil continues its rotation and again an EMF is induced in the coil. But the polarity gets reversed because this side is now linking with the north pole and this side with south pole. So, in this way, alternating EMF is generated at the ends of the coil.
Now, please take a look at this diagram that is shown in the right hand side, and this is actually single phase signal as you see here, and this is getting zero. If you take one cycle, it is becoming zero at 1, 2, 3 times. In one cycle, it is reaching 0, 1, 2 and 3 times. And when I show you the 3-phase signal, then you can notice how many times this is getting zero within that one cycle. Okay, so within the same period of time, when you observe the 3-phase signal, you will notice that you will notice the difference. So time being, keep in mind that in the single phase signal, so in this one cycle, it is reaching 0, 1, 2 and 3 times.
Even we can produce same alternating EMF in the coil by making the coil stationary and rotating the magnetic field. This is called the generation of single phase EMF or voltage. We can use this alternating voltage to run our single phase domestic loads like an electric bulb or a ceiling fan. But the limitation of single phase system is that it can run only small domestic load. In case we want to run heavy loads, like if we go for motor loads of above 5 HP, we will probably need 3-phase power due to the considerable current draw for a single phase motor on start up. So, to meet this high current demand, more set of coils are required and more than 2 wires are needed. The answer to this requirement is 3-phase EMF. In similar to the single phase EMF generation, the 3-phase EMF can be generated through 3 sets of coils. Each coil is displaced from one another through 120 degrees. Consequently, alternating EMF is generated in each coil and the EMF of each coil is displaced in phase angle 120 from one another. Let's understand what does the 120 degree phase difference means.
So you may think why 3-phase and why not 2-phase or 3-phase. Okay, so if you go for the 2-phase, what happens that the 2 phases will be 180 degree apart and that will actually cancel each other. But if you go for the higher phase, that is not required because most of the even the high voltage applications that you have will require mostly 440 volt, which can be very easily obtained by actually putting together two phases. So uh, if one phase is giving you 220 and the other phase is giving you 220, putting together you can get double of that. So in that way, all your requirement can be taken care of by the three phase. And with the help of this three phase, you can actually supply both domestic appliances as well as some of the industrial appliances.
You can see here in wave plot at this instant EMF of red phase R at its maximum magnitude.
Now I want you to note one thing compared to a single phase signal. So here all the three are not getting zero simultaneously. You can note that when one phase is zero, there is some output you are getting from the other phase. So in that way, it provides a better voltage regulations, because in some appliances you cannot afford for this particular signal to reach zero quite often. And you know that the frequency standard that we have accepted here in India is actually 50 hertz. Okay, so it's 50 hertz in the sense that how many cycles are there in 1 second? 50 such cycles are found in 1 second. So that's what the 50 hertz means. So you'll notice that in the case of three phase, you will not when, let's say for example, when this blue is zero here. So let's say the blue is zero. At that time, you are getting some output as a result of the other phase. So this is the advantage. And you will notice that these three signals that are shown here as red and then yellow and then blue. And these three are actually 120-degree phase apart. So first of all, red becomes maximum, and then you will see this yellow becoming maximum, and then B becoming maximum. So that's why when we denote these three lines, we actually denote it as R, Y, and B. And this is the neutral point. This black one, it denotes the neutral point where you have actually connected this one end of the R, Y as well as the blue coils. So this type of connection, we can call it as the star connection. Okay, so this is evident to you because you have already studied the star as well as the delta connection of star and delta to star conversion of resistances. Okay, so therefore, depending on the sequence in which it attains maximum, so we are calling it as R, Y, and B. So first of all, R becomes maximum, and then Y becomes, and then B becomes maximum. Okay. So the lines are denoted as R, Y, and B. Let's continue to listen.
After 120-degree, the EMF, or we can say voltage, of yellow phase achieves its maximum magnitude, and similarly after 120-degree, voltage of blue phase become maximum. The similar phase difference can be seen in negative maximum amplitudes. Also, the sum of EMFs of each phase at any instant of time is equal to 0. Therefore, we can join one conductor of each phase. This forms a neutral conductor. Now, we have to carry only 3 wires to transmit the power developed in these 3 phases. So, in this way, 3-phase electrical power is generated. 3-phase power is very popular and universally accepted throughout the world, from electricity generation to utilization. A 3-phase system is usually more economical than an equivalent single phase at the same line to ground voltage because it uses less conductor material to transmit electrical power. So, this is about 3-phase system.
Now let me introduce you to some of the terminologies that we will be frequently using in the star connection network. So star connection in the sense, as I showed you in the video, so one terminal of each winding is connected to a common point, and the remaining three terminals are actually connected to the circuit, as you saw in the video. So I'm drawing that circuit again to introduce you to some of the terminologies. Let's say this is the R, this is the B and the Y terminals, and this is the neutral, and let's say this is the current INR that is actually flowing from this N to R, and let's say this is the current IR that is flowing here. Let's say this is the current IB, and similarly this is the current IY. So INB and then INY. And regarding the voltages, let's say between this neutral and R, let's say the voltage is VNR, and between this N and B, let's say the voltage is VNB, and between this N and Y, let's say the voltage is VNY. Let me use a different color. Let's say between R and B, say the voltage is denoted as VBR. Here between B and Y, let's say the voltage is denoted as VYB. So in the same way, the voltage between R and Y, or Y and R. So this is denoted as VRY. So now some of this I am going to call as line quantities, and some of them I am going to call it as phase quantities. Like for example, now this current INR and this VNR, so these are specific to this particular phase alone. Okay, so these are phase quantities. And if you look at this voltage VBR, this is actually between these two lines. Okay. So this is between these two lines. So I can call this to be line voltage. So whatever I have shown in green enough, so this denotes line voltages. So let's say my VRY and my VYB and my VBR. So these are all line voltages, and these are all equal. So when it is equal for a balanced load condition. So for a balanced load condition, so this VRY, VYP, VPR and VL are equal. In the same way, your IR, IY, IB as well as IL, so these are also equal. Now these are your line voltages and line currents. Now what are the phase voltages and phase currents here? Now if you look at this voltage VNR, so this is specific to this particular phase. So this VNR and VNY, VNB, and these are all the phase voltages. So these are all same, equal for the balance condition. So in the same way, INR, INB and INY, let's say these are the phase voltages and phase currents. So in the balance condition, when the load that is connected to these three terminals are actually identical, so in that case we will be calling this as a balance condition. So during which you will note that VRY, VYB, VPR is all equal, and the same way VNR, VNY, VNB, these are also equal. So we are giving a common name VPH denoting the phase voltage and IPH denoting the phase current, and VL denoting the line voltage and IL denoting the line current. So now what we need to do is we need to derive this relationship. We have to derive this relationship between so we need to derive the relationship between this line as well as the phase quantities. So let's do that in the next part. The relationship between line and phase quantities. So first thing that you can observe by looking at this diagram, this INR is same as IR. Okay, so it's a same connection here, and INB is same as IB, and the same way INR is same as IY. So that is one relation. And this means that the line currents and phase currents are equal. So therefore, in short, I can write this as IL is equal to IPH. Okay, so this is the relation between the line current and the phase current under balance condition. Now let us try to derive the relationship between line voltage and phase voltage. Now for that you can apply KVL. So to make it easy for you, I will draw this diagram here again. So I'm leaving aside the currents. I am noting only the voltages VNR. Let's say this is VNY, and this is let's say VNB, and this is my B, this is my Y, and this is my R. And let's say this is BRY. Let's say this is BBR. This is BYB. Now let us apply KVL in this particular loop. Let's say this is N. So this is R and then Y and then N. Let us apply the KVL in this particular loop. In this N, R, Y, N. Now you can travel along the direction of this current, the loop current that we have taken. So this is VNR. And then here it is VRY, and here it is VNY. Okay, but we are actually going from Y to N, so therefore I will write it as minus VNY. So here this voltage we have taken as VNY. We are going in the clockwise direction because we are actually going from Y to N, so that is why I have used this negative here. Now here N to R, this is also N to R. Here we are going from R to Y, this is also VRY. That's why it is positive. But here we are going from Y to N, so I am taking this as negative. This is equal to 0. So VRY is equal to VNR. When it goes to the right hand side, it becomes negative. And this, when it goes to the right hand side, it becomes positive. So ultimately it will be VNY minus VNR. So let us note this. This will be required for constructing the phasor diagram. So I will be actually deriving 3 relations by applying KVL in all the 3 loops. So using this relation only, we will be obtaining the phasor diagram. And in the same way, if you can apply the KVL in this particular loop, let's say NYBN. Say you apply KVL in NYBN. Now what will you get? NYBN. Let's take this particular loop. So from N to Y it is VNY, and from Y to B it is VYB, and here from B to N, so we know it is VNB, but we are going from B to N, so therefore it is minus VNB equal to 0. So from this we can get our VYB is equal to VNB minus VNY. So this is one relation which can be used. And in the same way, when you so this is the loop, and in the same way you can consider, if you want to find VBR, you have to consider this loop from here, here, here. Okay, so you have to consider this path. So I'm marking it with red. Okay. So if you want to find VBR, so this is what you have to do. Now similarly, you will be getting VBR is equal to VNR minus VNB. So I don't want to repeat the same steps again. So you'll be able to do it by yourself. So I have three equations now. With these three equations, I can actually construct the phasor diagram. So I want you to be aware of one more thing. So all these are actually vector quantities. Okay. So I have not given the vector sign here, but you must know that this VRY, VNY, VNR, VYB, VNY, these are all vector quantities. So when I mean, let's say VNY minus VNR, which means that I am adding the vector of VNY with the let's say the reversed vector of VNR. This minus sign indicates I have just reversed the direction of the vector and then I am adding. So that is what it indicates. So VNY minus VNR is same as addition. But what I am doing, if you are thinking in terms of vector addition, I have just reversed the direction and then I am adding. So that's what it means. So please be aware that this VRY, VNY, VNR, VBR, VNR, VNB, all these are vector quantities. Now, how to find the modulus of this? From the equation number 1. I can write this VRY to be nothing but root of VNY square plus VNR square plus 2 VNY VNR into cos of phi. And what is this phi? And this phi is the phase difference between VNY and VNR. So this is the phase difference between VNY and VNR. In fact, you'll notice that we'll be actually measuring the phase difference between VNY and minus VNR. So I will construct a phasor diagram and from there I will obtain the value of this phi and then we will try to find what is this VRY. Okay, and we also know that this VNY, VNR, VNY, VNR, so all these are equal. Okay, so we gave a common name for that, VPH. What is that? So this is the phase voltage. So we have already introduced this name, and we have also mentioned that during the balanced load condition, we will have this VNY equal to VNR is equal to VNB and all that. So first of all, let us construct the phasor diagram. So we'll come back to this particular page again. So we know that VNB your VNR and VNY are how much degree apart? They are 120 degree apart. Okay, let us try to incorporate this first. I don't know how neat it is going to be, so I'll try my best. Let's say this is VNB and this is VNR and this is VNY. Okay, and now I can extend it. Use a different color. So if this is VNY and if I change the direction of this, I'll be getting what? I'll be getting minus VNY. And in the same way, if I reverse this, I'll be getting what? I'll be getting minus VNR. In the same way, if I reverse this, I'll be getting what? Let me make it a little more short. This will be minus VNB. Now we know that this and this are how much apart? 120 degree apart. The same way this and this, they were 120 degree apart because we have placed the coils in that way. We have placed the coil such that there is 120 degree phase difference. Now, if the angle between this and this is 120 degree, then what about this angle? This and this will be what? 60 degree, half of this. Similarly, between this there will be 60 degree. This will be again 60 degree. This will be 60 degree. The same way, angle between this and this will also be 60 degree. Now, if you look at the first equation that we have written is, I'm writing this equation here. This is V Ry is equal to what? V Ny minus V Nr, and this is nothing but V Ny plus minus V Nr. So I know the phasor of this, I know the phasor of this, so I can simply add it. Let us see here. I have V Ny, okay, and I have minus V Nr. Now I have to simply add these two phasors if I want Vry. So how to do this? Let me go for this parallelogram approach. I will project this here. And when I draw this, this should be parallel to this line. Okay, so in that way I will be drawing. And when I draw this line, this should be parallel to this line, parallelogram. Okay. Let me use another color. So this will be what? This will be my V R Y. In the same way, if I can add VNB and VNY, I'll be able to get VYB. So how to do this? So you know that in your second equation we have written VYB is equal to VNB minus VNY. So this is VNB minus plus minus VNY. So we know VNB, we know minus VNY. We need to simply add this. So it's very cold here. When I am trying to draw, my hand is actually shivering. So this is VYB. In the same way, you know that your third equation was VBR is equal to VNR plus VNB. Sorry, VNR minus VNB. In the same way, you can also obtain the VBR. So we know VNR, we know in the because So this is your VBR. So now we know what is the angle between, let's say for the example, VRY, the angle between your VNY and your angle between V minus VNR is known to you. That is 60 degree. Now let us apply this in the formula that we have put in the previous page. So we know that VNY is equal to VNR is equal to VPH. So therefore, this VRY is nothing but root of, and this VRY is nothing but your line voltage. So this relation also we have established if you look at the previous pages. And what was this angle 5? This angle 5 was found to be 60 degree. So therefore, VL is nothing but VPH square plus VPH square 2 VPH square plus 2 VPH square into cos 60 is 1 by 2. We will be getting root 3 VPH. So therefore, the required relation between line voltage and the phase voltage is VL is equal to root 3 times VPH. And remember, this is under balanced condition. Now, what is the power in this case? Star connection, what will be the power? Now, in the balanced condition, you can recognize this three-phase signal as a sum of three single-phase signals. Okay, so it is just like three single-phase, and then put together it becomes a three-phase. So therefore, the total active power, or in other words, real power. So we have the real part as well as the imaginary part, which you are already aware of. Now the total real power will be nothing but 3 times the individual phase power. 3 times the individual phase power. So that is nothing but 3 into VPH into IPH cos phi. Now you can write this as root 3 IPH cos phi. So we know that this is nothing but VL, and this can be written as IL. The same relation can also be written in terms of line quantities as follows: VL IL cos phi. So if you want to write it in kilowatts, it should be minus 10 to the power minus 3 kilowatt. So 5 in this case, it is the angle between your phase and phase voltage and current, or the angle between line voltage and current. Now in the same way, if you are talking about so this is the real part and the total reactive part. This will be root 3 VL IL sine phi. So therefore the total power, which is nothing but the sum of the real part and the imaginary part, let us denote it by S, and this S is given by your P square plus Q square so you'll be getting root 3 VL into IL. So this is in brief. Now the next part is we'll be moving to the delta connection. So let us look at the delta connection briefly, and with that we can conclude, and the remaining part we can see in the next class. So how this delta connection look like in this case? So it's R, Y and B. Say this is the current IBR. Mark this terminals also. This is R, B and Y. So this is the current IRY, and this is the current IYB. So that was actually a 4-wire system, because the neutral point was inward, and here it is actually a 3-wire system, R, Y and B. I want to inform you, it's a small announcement. So there is a small change in our plan. Earlier the evaluation scheme was 2 assignments, then 2 quiz, and then 2 class tests, and this will be 20 20 20 60, and then 40 for your NSUM. So this is no more valid, because we have received another direction as per which you would have given 30 marks mid-semester. So earlier this mid-sum concept was not there, especially in the last semester due to COVID. The mid-sum concept was not there. So we have 30 marks for mid-sum, and then you have 2 class tests. So this will have 5 plus 5, this will be 10 marks. So the assignments that you are writing presently, which you will be submitting shortly, that will be calculated for this class test. Okay, so instead of this class test, I will take that assignment marks, and then the remaining marks will be for your end semester. So this is the current direction that we have received. So I hope there won't be any further changes. Okay.